Hello, fellow crafters. I'm going to throw you into pit of despair. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm going to show you how to make a pit of despair to throw your player characters in. So let's go to the table and start working on that pit of despair.
Here we go. I have a piece of foam core I cut, and it's 4x4, and I've just measured from each corner to each corner, and that's going to help me guide me to draw the circle. I just had this can here, and I'm going to use that for the pit because it's just handy. I could use a compass or something like that. So I'm just going to trace around it and get the where the pit will be. And I'm going to cut the corners. I measured those 1/2 inch, and I'll just cut those corners so it's not just a square piece. Okay, now I'm going to start drawing on this with my ink pen, and this pushes into the foam core. Now I've removed the paper from the top like in other projects, and I'm going to measure 1/2 inch around because I want to do a circular stonework around the pit. So I'll just kind of freehand that around the edge with the ink pen. So just keep going around, and you know it's a ruin, so don't worry about it if it's not totally perfect. Close enough. So now I'm going to start doing the stonework with the ink pen, and I'll just go around and put the blocks in, and I'm pushing into the foam core to mark it. And remember, I removed the paper from this top layer here, and I'll just keep adding the stonework until I'm happy with it. So just keep going around the piece and fill it in. Alright, I've got my stonework. Now I'm going to punch in where the blocks meet. It gives a nice depth to the piece because you know, after a long period of time the stones won't exactly meet, so it kind of gives a nice separation. Now I'm going to add some detail with a plastic fork. Just punching into the foam core gives it a nice texture, and I'm going to use a sculpting tool to detail the places I marked with the pen. I'll just push in where I did with the pen, and just push into the foam core, and that gives a nice division between the blocks. And this curved piece on the sculpting tool, I'm just going to use around the edge in the circular part, and I'm just pulling the blocks into the center because I'm going to cut that center out anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'll just separate that rounds part with the curved part of the sculpting tool. You could use a straight part, but it's a little bit more difficult. Okay, I'm just punching into the foam core a little bit to add some more detail, add some more texture to these stones because it is going to be like a ruin. So now I cut the center out, so I just used a sharp knife to cut that out. You can use an X-Acto knife or your box cutter. And here I'm just going to distress the stones around the edge a little bit like they've chipped. Okay, so I'll just use my small scissors, and I'm just cutting out little chips out of the blocks that are near the edge. And I'll just do that until I'm happy, and then I can use a sculpting tool to distress the edge a little more. So I'll just push into the foam core a bit, and then I can add some more distressing if I feel I missed some areas. Okay, now I'm going to make some blocks, and I'm going to do a centimeter wide blocks, and I'm just going to cut a strip from a scrap piece of foam core that I had. And this has the top layer removed, the top layer of paper removed. So I'll just cut that out, and then I'm going to actually just measure them 1/2 inch long. So, and then I'll cut those out, and I'll have my blocks for the extra rubble pieces I want on the pit itself. I probably should have put the detailing before I cut them out, but hey, it makes it a little more interesting. And just you can use the sculpting tool same way, just add a little more detail. You can cut them up a little bit, corners, to make them more distressing. And we'll just add those with our glue all, our white glue. And I'm just going to randomly put those around the edges, so it looks like some rubble on there. You can stack them, and there we got some nice blocks going on there. And here I have just another small random piece. I'm going to use that for a smaller block that broke up. So I'll just put that on the edge. And ta-da! Okay, now I need the base of this. I'm going to use some thin cardboard, and I'm just going to make it easy and place this on the piece of cardboard and then I'll just trace around it. So that way I won't have to do any kind of measuring. I just cut out what I traced. Okay, so now I've cut it out. I just cut it out with scissors, and it should exactly fit on there. So I'm just going to use my hot glue. Now remember, I leave the paper on the foam core on the other side. That way the hot glue doesn't melt the foam core as easily, right? So now I'll just glue that on and let it harden up, the hot glue. And now I've all set. So now I'm going to use my white glue and cover the foam core and paint it on. Now this helps several things. It reinforces the foam core a little bit, as well as protecting it from the spray paint that I spray on it. So since I like to spray paint everything black, that works out great. So finish that up and let that dry. Now I've added my rubble technique here. I use white glue, pools of white glue with my construction irregular sand, and just pour it over the white glue, and I'll let that dry, and that'll be some nice small rubble pieces. Okay, here it is. It's all painted up flat black, sprayed flat black, and I'm going to do my patented stone color. So I've got my damp sponge. I'm going to sponge it on the stonework with the gray, pewter gray, and just go around the edge. Make sure you don't get into the pit. We want that to look like a pit. We want it to be black. So I'll just pick out all the stonework around the edges, interior edges, and the rubble. Don't hit it with too much paint. You want that black to show through. And we'll go around the edge of the piece. And I'm going to start using some other colors. I've got a burnt umber that gives a nice color to the stone, and a coffee. That just gives some nice variation to the stone itself. So we'll just stipple that on with the sponge. And now I want to make it look like the pit is descending into a pit. So I'm going to use my three colors and kind of mix them a bit. And I'm going to sponge what looks like blocks around the edge. And that way it'll look like it's darker in the pit, but you can see some of the blocks that are going down into the pit. And that's a nice technique. It gives a nice 3D technique. And pretty cool. And another way to accentuate this is I'm going to use the gray, and I'm just going to use the edge, and I'm going to put where the blocks meet and kind of put it on there so it looks like it's going down even further, but the blocks have like faded into darkness. I really like that technique. Alright, now I'm going to use a light gray, and this will be my highlight, and I'll use my wide brush and just brush some light gray on there, and that will pick out the details and give it some highlight, and really looking good there. So we'll take this to the table and give you a look at it in use. Cool. There it is. The Pit of Despair! So here our adventurers enter our nice 2.5D next tile. Hey, you sorcerer, stop what you're doing there. Ah, no way. Oh, you're pretty ugly there. Ooh, minions turn around. Hey, we gotta stop this ritual now. Come on, what you doing? And unfortunately, the demon spider queen comes crawling out of the pit, and yeah, there we go. Uh-oh. Game on, game on. All right, here we go. Let's remove the demon spider queen and take a closer look at the pit. So here we go. It's got some really nice detail on it. I think the rubble looks great. And the nice feature of this is that the sponging technique around the center that really makes it look like there are stones inside the pit going down. So in the blackness. So really like that. Nice little craft.
Hey crafters, I hope you really liked the Pit of Despair video. If you did, make sure to give your Scotty a like. If you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? Also, if you know some people who would enjoy these videos, share the crafting with them. Hit that share button. Also, make sure to join my Facebook and forum group. We have some lovely, lovely people who are great crafters, always sharing cool techniques. So join those groups. And last but not least, go forth and craft.
You give Roderick no choice, evil sorceress. I'm gonna have to throw you in that pit.